Let's talk about TCU for a moment. TCU shouldn't be here. And that's not a knock. I'm just saying, like, college football is not built for Cinderella runs. The more often you play in this sport, the longer that you play, the cream really should rise to the top. Now, having said that, I think we severely underestimate what TCU is from a cumulative talent perspective. Our metrics in college football of how we rate rosters, I believe, is outdated. And we need to start to view rosters and evaluate, I think is the better term, evaluate rosters better on a year in and year out basis. Because the fact of the matter is that if you actually evaluate the way that this team has played and what their transfers, namely on the defensive side of the ball, have done, this is a much more talented roster than what we would have given it credit for at the beginning of the year. That's in large part why they were unranked to start the year. By the way, they're trying to be the first national champ that was unranked in the preseason since 1990. That was a split title, by the way, between the University of Colorado and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech started that year unranked in the preseason. And the only reason, by the way, they can call themselves national title is that there was a certain coach from Colorado's rival, Tom Osborne, that switched his coaches poll vote after the bowl game, which gave Georgia Tech the nod in the coaches poll only, and why Colorado was not the unanimous national champion in 1990. So you got a one poll split champ in Georgia Tech. Is the last time that an unranked team has actually won the national championship. Now, it happened a couple of other times in the 80s. I believe Clemson in 81. I want to say the BYU team in their title, they were unranked to start the regular season. But again, this is a totally different era of college football. We live and breathe it a lot more from a 365 nature now than we used to back in the 80s or even in 1990. So this is an anomaly. And I believe that we're heading into an era in which it's incumbent upon all of us, me in particular, but all of us as college football fans, to try to evaluate rosters more accurately for what they are currently and not what they were just when these kids were coming out of high school. And I think that we're going to get towards doing that here in the coming years. This team was 5-7 a year ago. Last team to play for a national championship with a record that was that poor was that Auburn team, who I believe won 3 games before making that wild run under Gus Malzahn to face Florida State in the BCS national championship game. That national championship game was won, of course, by Florida State. Now, what is TCU? Well, TCU is very explosive on the offensive side. They're balanced, like I talked about earlier when I was talking about Georgia. They can run it, they can throw it. And then on defense, here's what they are. They're opportunistic, but they are tough as nails. They're tough. And guess what they can do? Run. So they make up for some of their mistakes. They make up for the fact that they might not be the most dominant defensive front by running. Their linebackers, fast. Safeties, fast. They can run. They've got a really good cover corner in Tomlinson, Hodges Tomlinson. Sorry, I butchered the order of his name there. So that in a lot of ways, these two teams can, in some ways, mirror each other because they are fast on defense and they can be balanced on offense. I think that the difference is that TCU can be wildly explosive on the offensive side. In fact, when you look at their ability to create not just explosive plays of 20 or more yards, but like I'm talking about home runs, 50 yards or more. They've got 21 plays this year of 50 yards or more. That's a lot. That's a lot. Speaks to the speed that they have on that side of the ball, the aggressiveness of their play caller, Garrett Riley, their ability of their quarterback, Max Duggan, to throw the ball with efficiency down the field. He's one of the best in the country at throwing the ball down the field 20 yards or more in the air and has a high completion percentage. I believe it's still over 50%. So this is a guy that knows how to do it. He's a Heisman finalist for a reason, and they've got a really good wide receiver in Quentin Johnston on the outside. Some believe, and I'm starting to fall into this category, that Quentin Johnston might be the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College football on Fox.